When you do space buns, are you supposed to leave the spiky part up or down? I feel like something's not looking right. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be playing with some drugstore makeup. So if you guys like affordable makeup, then definitely keep on watching. Let's just go ahead and get into it. For primer, we're gonna go in with the face glue primer from NYX. Honestly, this is not my favorite gripping primer. The idea of putting glue on my face still freaks me out, but it's not terrible. The more I've used it, the more I've come to like it. I like how thin the consistency is. I just find it to be a little bit more finicky than some other primers. It doesn't always react the best with every single foundation I put on top of it, but overall, it's not bad. It's good, but not great, I would say. But this is the newest drugstore primer that I have, so we're gonna use her today. It does leave a little bit of a tacky finish as it starts to dry down. For a base, we're gonna go with the NYX Buttermelt Skin Glaze Skin Tint. I have the shade 02 Vanilla Bean Butta. It's just a hint dark for me right now, so I'm just gonna add like the tiniest little bit of my white pigment from LA Girl. I'm trying to that's way too much. I'm just gonna take a dab and mix that into what I have over here. I think that's good.
Bruh.
Ooh, got straight up white there. No! So this buttermelt glaze is very, very light coverage. I've heard some of you guys recommend using this as a primer, and I definitely think you could because it's pretty hydrating and it gives you a little bit of a glow. It also has some SPF in it, so you could definitely use this as a primer, but in order to get the amount of SPF that you're technically supposed to wear, you'd have to use a lot of this. So I personally don't use it that way. Also, if I really wanted a super glowy or hydrating base, I would just go in with a moisturizer most of the time, or something like the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter, because that one is a little bit more impactful. So if you have really oily skin, I don't know if you would like this, love this, but if you have very dry skin, I think you would enjoy it if you don't mind something with a little bit less coverage. I really enjoy this for just an everyday, quick and easy skin tint moment. Lately, my skin has been so dry.
You okay?
Yes, I'm okay.
Insanely dry that hardly anything looks good on top of it because it's just like flaking. So this is one of the only things that actually looks pretty nice. It's very hydrating, doesn't emphasize texture. You can see it gives you that beautiful glow to the skin, but it's not an artificial glow. It's just glowy from the hydration. But as you can also see, it doesn't cover up everything. You can still see my skin peeking through, so it's not medium to full coverage at all. But I think it looks really pretty. For concealer, I'm gonna take the Revlon Glimmer Brightening Concealer. This is actually, I think, the first base product, foundation, concealer, primer that I've tried from Revlon. I know that's so weird. It's just not a brand that I find myself gravitating towards for base makeup for some reason, but I actually really like this concealer so far. I've only used it a couple times, so I'm still gathering my thoughts, but so far I really like it. It gives a nice high light / low medium coverage. It's glowy, but it's not glimmery. I was worried that the glimmer meant that it had sparkle or mica in it, but it doesn't. Glimmer just means glowy, although in my mind glimmer means sparkle. So don't be afraid of the name. It's actually really pretty, very hydrating. It's a little bit not thick, but I wouldn't describe it as a super serum-y or thin consistency. One thing I do wish is that they would expand the shade range because I feel like it's pretty limited. This is the shade 135 Light, and for a light, I think this is a little bit too light, if you know what I mean. And usually I'm more of a fair in the winter. My skin's pretty pale right now, but even this light tone is like, it suits me, but it's almost like a little bit light for me. I would just say go up maybe a shade of what you think you would be If you're normally a light, maybe get the light medium. If you're normally a fair, maybe get the light, and so on and so forth, because they do tend to run a little bit light. And also there's not a lot of shades to choose from, but hopefully they expand that in the future, because I do think it's a really nice formula. You can see it was super easy to blend out. It looks very natural and healthy under the eyes. So I just applied that mainly under my eyes, and then you saw just like on some of the more stubborn pigmented areas. I'm not trying to make my skin look flawless, perfect. I'm just going for like an easy, natural sort of skin moment. For bronzer, I'm actually going to use this Butter Glow liquid bronzer from Physicians Formula. I've never tried this before, and obviously this is a little mini baby sample that I got, I think from Ulta, or yeah, I think it was from Ulta when I purchased some Physicians Formula stuff. This was included as a free gift. I think from what I've heard about this, you're supposed to be able to use it as a mixer or as a liquid bronzer. So we're just gonna take a tiny little bit. Has that traditional Physicians Formula butter bronzer smell, which I really like, but if you don't like coconutty, summery scents, something to keep in mind. And I'm just tapping that onto the skin. Seems to be blending out really nicely. Physicians Formula knows how to do bronzers. I like how it's not too pigmented, but it does give like a sheer wash of color. It's a little bit warm for my skin right now since I am so pale, but it's blending out beautifully and it doesn't look orange. So I'm just going to take that across the center of my face too, because it is a little bit warmer. So I kind of want to put it where the sun would naturally bronze my skin if I were outside at all these days. I'm going to see if I can build it, because that is a problem with a lot of liquid color products. When you try to build them, they get patchy really easily, but this one seems to be building just fine. It's a little warm to put on my neck, but I'm going to put some down here just to make everything flow a little bit more cohesive. It's sort of removing the concealer that I had on my nose, but that might just be me being a little bit rough with my application. So I'm gonna go in with a little bit more of my concealer. Honestly, concealer and foundation never wants to stick to my nose for some reason. It's really annoying. Okay. I actually like this a lot more than I thought I was going to, and I don't know why I'm so surprised, because I love literally every bronzer from Physicians Formula I've tried. I don't know why I wasn't expecting to love this, but I actually really like it. It looks super natural on the skin. It's a little bit glowy. It doesn't feel super sticky, and it just looks very seamless. So I really like that. For blush, I have two that I want to use. They're both similar colors, so hopefully this works out. On one side, we're gonna use the Almay Color Care Tint Stick, and it's a pH activated custom color in the shade 400. I don't know what the pH business is all about, because to me it's just the color that it looks in the tube, sort of a rosy terracotta shade. And it's a very balmy formula, sheer, but you can build it up. I will say though that if you try to build it up too much, it can get a little patchy, just because it's such a stiff formula. You have to be careful drawing it directly onto your skin, because it can lift product underneath of it just because it's a little bit stiffer. Although I will say that because of that more grippy texture, it does wear a pretty good amount of time for a cream blush, I will say. I really enjoy the color. I like how balmy and fresh it looks on the cheeks. I have to admit, it's not my favorite formula ever, but I don't think it's bad at all. And I really do enjoy the color. The finish and formula of this reminds me a little bit of the gel crush sticks from Flower Beauty. If you've tried these, I would say the ones from Flower Beauty are a little bit more sheer and more dewy on the skin, whereas the Almay is a little bit of a slightly stiffer formula and still glowy, but not maybe as juiced up looking, but very similar. So if you really like the Flower Beauty ones, you might like the ones from Almay as well. But if you don't like any sort of tackiness and you don't want to have to set down your cream blush, then you might not like these very much. And then on the other side, we're going to go in with the Glimmer blush drops from Revlon. The packaging of this is so cute. It's a little squeezy tube, and there's a little button on the bottom. You just press out a little drop. I'm just gonna take this little LF010 brush from Lottie London. These are very pigmented, but I think the color is pretty similar to the almay. Ooh, it is not working very well with that brush. Let me try with my finger. Oh my gosh, it's already dried on the back of my hand. What? I mean, the color is really pretty, but it's sort of, can you see? It's sort of balling up. And I mean, I wasn't brushing that hard. What? I was not being that aggressive. It is literally, dude, can you see that? What is happening? I don't know if this is just not meshing well with the Physicians Formula product I have underneath of it, but that looks awful. It is so chunky. Oh my gosh. There is literally a huge spot where this is just picking up on itself. That looks awful. I'm gonna have to keep trying these. This was my first time trying this. I've had it for a while, I just haven't tried it out yet, but I don't know. As of now, I really don't like it. I'll say that. I don't know if it's just the products that I layered underneath, but holy moly, that looked terrible. So I'm just gonna try to go over that with some concealer. I'm going to try to fix this and apply the almay on this side, and then we'll move on to the lips and the eyes. That was scary. Okay, so we're back, and I somewhat fixed it, but holy moly, that was scary. Let's just forget that never happened. I'm scared to try these again, but I will try them with new products. Hopefully that does not happen anymore. But the fact that it even happened once is like already turning me off. It gives me a bad taste in my mouth for that product, because it's like you never know what you're gonna get. If you just use the wrong foundation, the wrong bronzer, it's going to maybe turn into a
disaster.
Don't like that. I like a product that I know with everything that I use it with, it's going to be good. So for lips, we're gonna go in with this Colorstay multi-liner from Revlon. This is in the shade Dynamic Doer. It is a wooden pencil, but it's very, very, very creamy. And these are extremely long lasting. Once it dries down, it locks in place, which you know I love. So I'm just going to line my lips with this. You get a little smudger on the other side, but I honestly never really smudge my lip liner. I'm gonna let that set down before I go in with the gloss, and while that sets, I'm going to do my eyeshadow. We're gonna go in with the Revolution Beauty, the Eternal Icon palette. You guys know, if you are not new to my channel, the love I have for these palettes. So I primed my eyes. I'm just going to speed through this part because it's not really a tutorial, but I'll let you guys see what I'm doing, and then we'll be back to finish up this drugstore makeup look. So eyes are all finished. We got this like smoky green moment, which I kind of like. It's not perfect. I feel like I've been struggling with my eyeshadow lately. I'm just going through like a tough spot. To me, and the eyeshadow is just, I don't know, I'm not feeling it. I do want to now complete the look with a gloss. I'm going to take another Revlon product, the Super Lustrous Glimmer Lip Gloss in the shade 05 Glazed Almond. And there is the lip gloss. It's like a rose goldy kind of color. I thought it was going to be a little bit more brown, but it's almost like a red tone, which is fine. It's very, very sparkly. A lot has happened. A lot has happened, my friends. I don't even remember the last place that I left you all. I don't know why, but my eyes are watering like crazy today. So I had so much smudging and just patchiness under my eyes where the water was wiping away the shadow. So I had to go in and fix it again. And you know, I will say that one problem I have with this palette is a lot of these tones are the same depth. So this green and this brown, it looks darker in the pan, but it's actually the same depth level as the green. So I really wish there was something a little bit deeper in this palette, like a really, really deep brown, a really deep brown, or even a black. So I did have to reach in to my Patrick Ta palette. You can use just any brown eyeshadow. I just needed something to really deepen up the parts where my tears had destroyed my look. Ignore the patchy eyeshadow, ignore the patchy cheeks, just ignore my whole face, okay? Hopefully editing Ashley will be able to salvage a bit of this video. But before we go, let's go ahead and go in with a little highlight, because I mean, highlight makes me happy. I need a little happiness, so I'm going in with my Dreamlight highlighter from Moira in the shade 07 Reckless Love. I do feel like my under eyes are looking a little dark. I'm going to set them with my NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop powder, just because this one has a little bit of a tint to it, and I need to cancel out a bit of that green that fell down all over my face. This powder is pretty matte, so it might make my under eyes look a little dry, but it's fine. What else can go wrong at this point? But it is a very smoothing powder, and I will say that even though it's super matte, it's not too bad on dry skin. I like it more in the summertime. I always reach for this. It's really smooth, not too heavy, and I'm just gonna put a little bit on the center of my forehead too. Well, I don't know why I'm using such a small brush, but whatever, we're here. A little bit like through the center of my face, just to blur out these pores. And yeah, that is basically it. We got here. I don't know how we got here. Hair is crazy, patchy cheeks, patchy eyes, but I think it was more of a me problem today than a makeup problem. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If nothing else, please give me a thumbs up, because it was a struggle for me to complete. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video.